is normally when we are about to vote. You close credentialing before you vote. You can reopen credentialing after a vote is made.
Which is my point. There should be a deadline and no more opening and closing.
Yes.
It causes a lot of confusion when that happens. We've got to get that figured out. I've never seen any meeting other than the state party where that happens.
Correct. And if it were in person, Vicki, you have to be in the doors by the time credentialing ends, or you don't get into the meeting. And if you leave, you cannot come back. So treating this any differently because it's online is not proper procedure.
But what I'm saying is that has happened.
Guys,
Can
everybody
just
doors by
We got bigger fish to fry than this.
that was my mistake.
Maximum participation.
So treating this
Maximum
that's
participation.
your opinion that it's bigger fish to fry.
Oh, here we go. Here we
Okay,
go.
I'm going to go ahead and make it.
Fry than this.
That was my
Maximum participation.
Hey,
Maximum
that's your
participation.
opinion that it's bigger fish to fry.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make it.
Fry than this.
That was my
Maximum participation.
Hey,
Cody, why are we rehearing this over and over again?
I'm trying to
Somebody-
turn. Yes.
Somebody has additional sound playing. So go ahead, Cody. You were trying to say something.
Cody, why are we rehearing this over and over again?
I'm trying to
Somebody-
turn. Yes.
Cody,
Yes.
yeah, there's something. Can you find out who's doing that? Where that sound is coming from?
I think I just was able to get it turned off. Now at this point, because we're ready to begin, all microphones have been muted. And you no longer have access to unmute your microphone. So once the chairman pro tem calls the meeting back to order, you have to raise your hand in order to be recognized, whether that's for a point of clarification or a point of order. So Russ, where are you? So I can find you.
I just asked him to unmute.
Okay, perfect. So Russ is unmuted and can talk.
Okay, so the last thing we really did was the pledge before we started recording. Well, I'm sorry, we did a couple of other things. I want to go back through the appointment announcements. The chair announces the following committee and officer appointments for today's meetings. Credentials Committee Chair is Bridget Holcomb. Teller Committee Chair is Cody LeBlanc. Again, happy birthday, Cody. And the parliamentarian is Jeremy Goodall. The presiding officer thanks each of you for your service. The chair recognizes the Credentials Committee Chair for the initial report. That's Bridget Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The credentialing committee responds with the eligible votes for today's meeting is 497. We needed a total of 166, which is 1/3 to reach our quorum. Credentialed in today is 244, indicating that quorum has been met at a 49% rate.
Thank you very much. The chair finds that a quorum is present. The committee is authorized to transact business. Adoption of initial credentials report. Question before the body is the adoption of the initial credentials report. Is there a motion to adopt the report? Well, I'll make a motion to adopt it. Is there a second?
Russ, they can't
Second.
unmute themselves, so you'll have to go based off of hands raised.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to adopt the initial credentials report. Is there any discussion? I see a hand raised.
There are
Cody, should we go through the raised hands before?
Yes, I just
we
unmuted
proceed?
Randy.
Oh, hey guys, I just have
The chair recognizes Randy Corcoran.
Thank you. I have a screen up that says sharing is not turned on. Do I want to share? Do I want to click yes or no to that?
Click no, that's just if you wanted to share your screen.
Oh, okay, duh. I thought it had something to do with the YouTube or who knows. So sorry for the time.
Chair recognizes Jason Entz.
Jason, you're unmuted.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we close credentialing.
Do we have a second? Oral Emmer,
Oral.
did you second?
Well,
Okay.
I have a point of clarification on the credentialed numbers, please.
Yes. Go.
You said 244 is what we currently have credentialed at 10:47 a.m., but according to the screen, it says 242. Can you please clarify those numbers?
Whoever's running that, please clarify it. Bridget
Sorry,
reported
Bridget.
244.
Yeah, so at the time of 1047, we had 244 people that had credentialed. At the time of moving, is it potentially that people have either lost signal or dropped? So we're going off of the spreadsheet that we had actually credentialed through, where we put in the ZZZs. So I would indicate that we potentially lost some people either to the transition or to internet outages.
All right. Is there any more discussion? All right, seeing none, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor? I'm
Russ,
sorry.
you do have several hands raised.
Okay, I just see that. Yep, our chair recognizes Hugo Chavez, right?
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Going back to the question that Darcy had placed about the credentialing closing, I think there is a difference between an in-person meeting and a virtual meeting because of the fact that some people may, for technical reasons, get dropped off, and when they come back in, even though they've already been credentialed, it's saying that you have to re-credential. So is there a way to eliminate that? If you've already credentialed once, but you drop off and get back in, shouldn't you just remain credentialed?
Russ, would you recognize me?
Who is that?
Cody LeBlanc.
Cody.
Yeah, Cody, the chair recognizes Cody LeBlanc.
To answer your question, Hugo, once credentialing is closed by the body, we will still allow members who have already been credentialed to return back to the meeting. So when they come in, their names, we can message them in the waiting room. And if they can verify their name and it matches one that's already been credentialed, we can allow them back into the meeting. But once you close credentialing, no other voting members can come in. And for everyone's awareness, we have 4 members that have been waiting in the waiting room to be credentialed since 10/29 that we've had to keep waiting there because we can't move them. So if you do choose to close credentialing, I would ask that you make that caveat that the people that are currently in the waiting room as of 10:51 a.m. are allowed to credential in.
Okay, I think that's fair.
I do too. All right, any more discussion on the credential?
Terry Porter has her hand up.
Hi, Terry. Chair recognizes Terry.
I just have a point of information. Asking the parliamentarian, do our bylaws actually speak to the closing of credentialing?
Jeremy, I can't find you on the list to unmute you. Can you put your hand up? Oh, there he is.
Generally, credentialing is handled at the discretion of the body. Like the body has full authority and to determine who is a member of the body and authorized to vote. And so the bylaws are actually, like I'm reading through them right here. We've got a lot of stuff on proxies and all that stuff, which are not relevant. But if the body votes to close credentialing, then the body has voted to cease admitting people to this meeting.
The only difference would be if the bylaws did speak to it, then it would take 2/3 as opposed to just a majority on this vote.
Correct.
Are we ready for an amendment to the main motion? Because we've had 2 considerations of allowing those that had not yet been moved over, but they had logged on, and then to allow those to return who are disconnected for whatever reason.
Well, I believe the motion before the body at this moment is the adoption of the credentials report as presented.
No, we had Sean made, I thought Sean made a, or not Sean, but somebody
Sean
else made
stepped
the
in
motion.
and put forward a motion.
Hugo made the motion to close the credentialing.
Yeah, well, that would need to be a secondary motion after we concluded the adoption of the credentials report, because we can't actually hold a vote not knowing if we have to approve
Okay,
the body to
so
vote on whether we're going to then close credentialing.
The motion to close credentialing was out of order because we already had a
Correct.
motion on the floor. Okay.
That would be my read.
Terry, I'm going to mute you. Sean is next with his hand up. Russ, I'm going to unmute Sean.
All right, the chair recognizes Sean Haggerty.
Yeah, and when that change is made, we need to recognize that there are at various points in time, because of internet issues, whether it be mountain passes, whatever, there are going to be people who are going to drop off and then have a difficulty getting back in. If there's a phone number that can be used so that those people, if they can't, for whatever reason, credential back in, if there's an alternative, that might not be a bad idea. And that could be one person designated by the credentials committee to accept those phone calls. Just a thought.
Can I ask that if you have a comment or concern regarding the current motion on the floor, which is to adopt the initial credentialing report, that those are the only hands that are raised currently. If your concern, question, comment does not have to do with that, it is, I will continue unmuting. Russ, next you have Patty McKernan.
The chair recognizes Patty McKernan.
Thank you, Chair. My comment is, or under the discussion, is that when we adopt the credentials number, and if it's 244, it's 244, if it's 248, whatever, that we look at that participant number continually and make sure there is no more than 248 people in this meeting. I will be satisfied at that.
Okay, the chair recognizes Marty Nielsen.
Yes, I have two comments. Usually parliamentary procedure requires the chairman of the credentialing to make the motion. I would like to know who made the motion and who seconded it.
That's a good question. I think we should redo it, actually. Let me read it again. It has been, well, it hasn't. Is there a motion to adopt the report? Anybody?
The credentialing chairman should make that motion.
Okay.
So Marty.
No, he doesn't have to.
I was going to say a couple.
Well, then I want to know who made the motion.
Well, who's making it now?
We don't do I so moved. We make motions.
Russ, may I ask a question or provide some context here?
Please do.
This is Cody LeBlanc again. For those questioning, like Marty, why the chairman of the credentialing report did not make the motion, it is because the chairman of the credentials committee is not a voting member of this body and as such does not have the power to make a motion. So
Thank you, Cody.
Her report included the numbers, but it is up to a member of this body to say, I move to adopt the credentials report.
All right, the chair
they
recognizes.
don't say I so moved.
So Terry Porter has raised her hand. Russ, will you call on Terry?
The chair recognizes Terry Porter.
Can I get Cody to reiterate the numbers that how many have checked in, including anybody that is in the waiting room, and so that we can actually have a definitive number?
Yes.
Cody, before we do that, Mr. Chair, can I make a recommendation that we actually take the motion off the floor so that we can redo the credentialing based on the discussion?
If the motion was made and seconded, it would take the maker of the motion to withdraw their motion.
You need to have the second removed and then you need to have the motion removed. That is correct. I'm asking though, because technically we have a motion on the floor. for the original numbers, and I can provide clarification, but we either need to vote or rescind the motion.
All right, who was the person who made the motion and who seconded it? I didn't take notes.
I thought it was Hugo that made the motion.
Okay, Hugo, do you rescind that motion?
Hugo, did you make the motion?
No, I didn't make the motion. I asked a question about the process of
We don't even
allowing.
know who made the motion.
I believe it was Jason Enns. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, so I made the motion that we close credentialing, but I would change that to I will rescind or whatever we need to do to adopt the new credentials or to hear the new credentials as whatever they are.
And who seconded it?
There was no second.
Okay.
There was a second in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, then it was Susan Baker.
Okay. Susan Baker, do you rescind your motion?
Susan, can you raise your hand?
She said yes.
Okay.
In the chat.
All right. The chair recognizes Marty Nielsen.
You can mute me. I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Chair recognizes Darcy Schoening.
Okay, thanks, Ross. So I just have a quick question. I was with this credentialing, there's two things that I don't understand. I can't use the chat like everyone else seems to be able to use the chat. So why can some members on this call use it and others can't?
Good question. Anybody have an answer?
It must be on your end, Darcy.
No,
it
not.
says chat
not,
is
Anna.
disabled by the meeting host.
Thank you for bringing that to our awareness. It should work for you now.
It's working. Thank you so much.
All right. So I guess we need to go back to the initial credentials report. The chair recognizes the Credentials Committee Chair for the initial report, Bridget Holcomb.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the credentials report, we have a total eligible votes of 497. We need 166 to meet quorum. Credentialed is 244 with 6 people in the waiting room attempting to credential. So that would make it 247, I believe. If my math is mathing, nope, that's 250. Excuse me, my math was not mathing. A total of 250 credentialed for today's meeting.
All right,
Mr.
thank
Chair.
you very much, Bridget. Chair finds that a quorum is present. The committee is authorized to transact business. Adoption of the initial credentials report. The question before the body is the adoption of the initial credentials report. Is there a motion to adopt the report?
Terry, you're unmuted.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the initial credentials report allowing for 250 people, members be eligible to vote, and that followed by the credentials being closed.
Okay, is there a second? Is that Patty McKernan? Okay. All right, it has been moved and seconded to adopt the initial credentials report. Is there any more discussion? Chair recognizes Stephen Collier.
Point of inquiry, Mr. Chair, just to clarify, any individuals that may have entered the credentialing process after 10:30, I'm assuming based on the official rules, those individuals were not allowed to join. Is that accurate?
I'll ask either Anna Ferguson or Jeremy Goodall.
That would actually be a question for the credentials chair.
Well, what'll happen is the people that were already credentialed that got kicked off and came on after 10:30 room will know if they had already credentialed, and we will let them in. Anybody else will not be credentialed in.
Hey, thank you, Anna.
and apologize, Mr. Chair. This is Bridget with the credentialing committee. Anybody in the waiting room was pre 10:30, so like 10:27, 10:28, 10:29 as an example. Those are in my count.
Again, Chair recognizes Stephen Collier.
Yeah, sorry, I'm lowering my hand, but thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the clarification from the credentialing committee chair. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor?
Russ, they can't unmute themselves, so I will
Oh.
just launch the poll.
Okay.
For everyone's knowledge, there will be a initial credentials report poll launching momentarily. You will click yes, no, or abstain.
And where will that appear on our screens?
It should just pop up on your screen as soon as should be there now.
Got it.
Just for clarification to the body, at the bottom of the screen is a little heart emoji labeled reactions. When you've been called on, you'll need to click that and then lower your hand through that menu as well. If that's what you're, otherwise you're going to look like you're still in line.
Thank you, Jeremy. And Mr. Chairman, when you are ready, we can close the poll. Oh,
all right,
poll is
yeah.
ended.
The ayes have it, and the credentials report is adopted. Now we're going to move on to the approval of agenda. The proposed agenda was included in the meeting call. Please note that this meeting was initiated via membership petition, so no additional agenda items may be added to today's business. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Chair recognizes Ray Garcia.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second. This is Margaret Lapine.
All right, Margaret Lapine, thank you very much. Has been moved and seconded to adopt the agenda. Is there any discussion or amendment? Chair recognizes John Fielding. He needs to be unmuted. There you go.
Chairman.
John, it keeps unmuting you.
Yeah, sorry, John, if you could start over.
I have a question of clarification. A number of things that have come up, including the closing of credentials. These are usually handled by the meeting rules. If I may ask, which meeting rules are we currently operating under?
That would be the standing rules that are in the bylaws.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Darcy Schoening.
Secretary Anders, thank you. I just wanted to let you know I'm getting a lot of messages from people who are trying to watch the live stream, and it's currently not streaming.
And who was taking care of that? Was that Cody?
It is, and I have it up on my cell phone, and it is live streaming on my cell phone. So I will send the link in the chat again if you can make sure that they have the correct link.
Yeah, send it in the chat again, because there's a bunch of people right now that are showing me where it's just a frozen Colorado GOP screen.
That likely will happen. If it will, depending with how many people are in this Zoom, it could happen. So I would ask them to be patient, but we will do what I can to get you guys a correct link.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, chair recognizes Randy Corcoran.
Yeah, a couple things. I just want to make sure everybody understands there is no rule in our bylaws that regarding closing credentialing. Robert's Rules of Orders provides no specific guidance on that issue. So people who are trying to credential in can do so unless we decide that they can't. So we probably need to make sure that that's an official position of this body, that no one trying to credential in after this cutoff can do so. And the other thing is, I don't think we've addressed, now that we're back on agenda, the idea of people who get bumped out driving through the canyon like the one lady or whatever, and are trying to come back in who have already been credentialed.
Okay. I thought we did address that, but
well, we kind of started over. But,
yeah. Jeremy, your input, please.
So my recollection was that the gal, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name, that put forward the second motion to adopt the credentials report, did amend the wording to that to say and close credentials, which was then put forward to the body and motion. So credentials, I believe, by my understanding, are closed as of the adoption of that motion.
Excellent. Chair recognizes Lisa Zimmerman.
I apologize. Was that a question for me?
No, it was recognizing Lisa Zimmerman, but I don't see her anymore.
Oh, she's here. I can unmute her.
Hey,
Lisa?
while we're talking about all of this, we actually have had one of our members that got booted and is currently trying to get back in, and she has been in here.
Okay.
And she's in the waiting room right now.
All right.
It's Jody Zuber.
I'm working through the list right now, Cody, for those that have previously been credentialed.
Chair recognizes Terry Porter. Please unmute, Terry.
You're unmuted now, Terry.
Okay, thanks. Yes, my motion was to accept the 250, including those in the waiting room, and then to close the credentials, but I did not include allowing them to come back on. And so I would like to make the motion to allow any of those 250 that were initially credentialed to be allowed back on due to loss of signal.
Anybody second that motion or a motion? Second that motion.
And Russ, if you see somebody giving you the okay for a second, that's all you need, because it just says there's more than me that wants it to happen.
Right. Anybody else? Good. Thank you, Terry. Anybody else want to second that motion?
I'll second it. Vanessa.
Okay. All right, Vanessa, thank you.
And I have a question also.
Chair recognizes Vanessa Ruggles.
I think we need to make sure Anna is taking minutes. So if somebody questions what was previously said or who made the motion, we can be able to answer that question.
Yeah, and it is being recorded, and I will be drafting up the minutes after this meeting. But you're talking about for right now, if we need to go back?
Correct. If somebody asks a question, who made the motion, we should be able to answer that question.
Okay, yeah, and I'm taking notes now, so thank you. That's a great idea. Thanks, Vanessa. All right, any further discussion or amendments? Great. We'll now vote on adoption of the agenda. Are we going to do an actual
Several people
vote?
with their hands up.
Yeah, Westenheimer put his hand up to,
I'm sorry, Weston. Chair recognizes Westenheimer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A couple things. One, this is a note for Cody, getting texts from the media that the live stream is frozen. I know the link you sent is working, but you may want to publicize that a little better. Part two, I just want to ask the body if we can. There are some of us that have to go to work in a couple hours, actually 45 minutes. So if we can keep this moving along and not waste everyone's time with monotonous questions, I think we would all appreciate it, because it is our Saturday and we do want to enjoy it. So can we get to the business, get this accomplished, and move on? Thank you.
Bravo. I'm all for that. Chair recognizes Renee Nelson.
Yep. There is something in the chat from a James Peabody. He said there's still some co-hosts from credentialing that haven't been able to vote and
Yes.
move over.
And I'm correcting that now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Carl Wood. Please unmute Carl Wood.
Carl
There
Wood.
you go, Carl.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Russ. Just a comment with this discussion. It's normal protocol, and I think it applies very well here. Anyone motioning, seconding, and so forth, it's very helpful to state your name and your county. Thank you.
I agree. Chair recognizes Vanessa Ruggles. Vanessa. And she's not on, please unmute.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, Vanessa.
For the audio, if people will click the left lower corner, Dale says it works. So those people having trouble getting in for the video or the YouTube non-voting members, click the lower left corner.
Thank you, Vanessa. Chair recognizes Stephen Collier.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Steve Collier, Douglas County. To continue the meeting going in a efficient manner, it's inevitable that I think we believe that folks will drop off. Is there a process that we can adopt to where either those individuals or representatives from their county can contact someone on your all's end to coordinate that versus stopping the meeting each time that someone has lost connectivity? I think that would allow things to be more expedited. Thank you.
Cody, any comments on that?
Yes, so a couple of things for you all. We have the list. We see their names as they come in, so we know who has already been credentialed and not as they enter the meeting. So only the ones that will be admitted will be the ones that are credentialed. I'm happy to give you Bridget's phone number as the credentials committee chair. If you'd like to text her, I'd just please ask. There's a lot of moving pieces that are happening. So getting 37 text messages and 42 phone calls about one person needing to be let in would be overwhelming and just unorganized. So I will read her number and then I will tell you the telephone number or so put it in the chat. The number is 970-371-7598.
And this is Bridget Cody. Thank you very much. I have received at least one phone call from somebody who already had my number. Mr. Chair and body, I would also ask that if you currently have permissions to not admit all, that has also caused a little bit of a delay in the verification of said participants. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Bridget. Chair recognizes Marty Nielsen.
Marty Nielsen, Boulder County. Is there a motion on the floor?
Yes, the motion is to adopt the agenda. And it was, the motion was made by Terry Porter. It was seconded by Vanessa Ruggles.
Harry,
No,
I just
I
unmuted
had a
you.
motion by Ray
Hey,
Garcia
can I-
to adopt the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, point of clarification and point of order. You brought up the agenda, then I came back and I made the motion to, about the credentialing, to basically allow people back on. We never took a vote on that. It was
Okay.
seconded. And then the motion for the agenda was not seconded. So we've got a confusion here. If we
Okay,
could finish voting on my motion, which was to allow people that had previously been credentialed to be able to enter back in, then we can go ahead and take the motion to approve the agenda, and you could consider me as a second on that motion.
okay, great. And on Terry's
Madam
motion.
Chair, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Mr. Chairman,
Marty.
I wrote down that Ray Garcia made the agenda motion and Margaret Lapine seconded it.
Okay, you are right.
But we had another motion on the floor at the time, which was about the
They
credential.
made their motion before you did, Cherry.
Jeremy, where do we go?
At this point, I would actually say that Ray's motion for the approval of the agenda. I might suggest that rather than pulling up a poll and stuff, we just pass that as a without objection, unanimous consent type vote, which would probably free up Cody from having to pull up a poll and populate that.
Yeah, all in favor of that? I am.
Aye.
Aye. All against, all opposed. I don't see any. The agenda is adopted. Now to get back to Terry's issue regarding the credentials report. All of those in favor of recognizing the 250 people with some 6 people in the chat room that signed in or dialed in or zoomed in prior to 10:30, that we adopt the credentials report with 250
That was
people.
already done, Russ.
That
But
was already voted on.
My second motion was about
96%.
allowing, my second motion was to allow them back in.
Okay, anybody second that motion?
I'll
Allowing people back
second
in.
it.
Okay, good. All in
Marty
favor?
Nielsen, Boulder County, second.
Okay, thanks, Marty. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, looks like the ayes have it and credentials report is adopted along with Terry's motion. Now, number 8, business items. Please note that we do not need to adopt proposed rules as none have been provided. Instead, we'll use our current standing rules to conduct today's business. Each agenda item will be handled separately. Under proper parliamentary procedure, members must seek recognition before speaking. Those who pre-registered in support or opposition to any question will be recognized first. Item 1, the first question before the body reads, given the dire financial position of the CRC faces with record declining fundraising, shall the CRC suspend the $2.4 million in spending authority adopted by Chairwoman Britta Horn while furloughing all personal compensation and benefits under the CRC fund, until the CRC fundraises 4 months worth of total expenses as defined by Chairwoman Horn's previously adopted $2.4 million spending plan. Is there a motion to adopt this proposal? The chair recognizes Terry Lammers.
I did not mean to raise my hand.
Okay, no problem. Chair recognizes Terry Porter. Hold on, Terry. There you go. No. Terry Porter needs to be unmuted. Thank you.
I move the adoption of the motion.
Okay, is there a second? Chair recognizes Kathy Stroud.
Ooh, I didn't know I had my hand up.
Okay, Chair.
I will second it.
All right, thank you, Kathy. Just give me a moment here. All right. It has been moved and seconded. The motion is now open for debate. Any questions, any debate, any issues? Chair recognizes Carl Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Carl Wood, Grand County. I guess I'd like a little explanation. How far do we know how far the party is in debt at this point, and what is the amount of 4 months of operating expenditures that would need to be raised?
My math is over 24 months, 2.4 million. That's $100,000 a month. As I understand it, we're about $90,000 in debt, and that includes partial use of a line of credit. And the amount of money essentially owed to attorney Stephen Glinda. Okay, Chair recognizes Laurel Eimer.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Laurel Eimer, Jefferson County. I'm in full support of restricting the 2.4 million. My concern would be we need to have money to perform caucus and assembly for the state assembly. So how do we ensure that we can still pay what we need to pay to have a state assembly that is currently scheduled for April if we suspend the budget? I just want to make sure that we've thought about that, but I do not want to give her free reign or anybody free reign of the finances at this point. So how are we going to pay for the state assembly in April?
That's a great question. Last I knew, Laurel, we had some $75,000 cash on hand. I resigned as treasurer around December 10th because I didn't want my name associated with that FEC report. So I'll have to ask Alec Hanna, which I will do as soon as we end this.
Mr. Chair, they'll also be raising money with the badge fees as well.
Yeah, the badge fees, I don't even know what they are, but
can we somehow clarify to make sure that those badge fees, that money goes to that and doesn't go to pay attorney's fees?
That's another great question that I will ask Alec Hanna. Okay, Chair recognizes Lisa Zimmerman.
Okay, Lisa Zimmerman, La Plata County. Question, who originally approved the budget and where in the bylaws does it say that the SCC as a whole approves or changes the budget? Can we please get some clarification on that from the parliamentarian?
I was involved. It was an executive committee decision, and that's where it rests in the bylaws, as I understand it. And that was approved.
The bylaws say that the chair has to present the budget to the SEC on or before June 15th, and that's when they did it.
Okay. Chair recognizes Weston Eimer.
Apologies for the delay, trying to get ready for work here. Full support of the motion to suspend the budget. I do echo the concerns of my fellow member regarding the assembly and the upcoming caucus. To clarify Ms. Zimmerman's question, the Central Committee is the overall ruling body. We have full control to say and do what we want when we want it. And if we want to suspend the budget, we do have the authority. The SCC is empowered to do that. The Executive Committee did approve the budget a few months back. And there was a lot of pushback against the $2.4 million budget, but it did pass because the chair can appoint people to the Executive Committee to sway the vote. So I hope that clarifies any questions. I rise in full support, and please suspend the budget. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Dave Williams.
Hi, everybody. So the way I read this question is it's really more driving at not spending money towards compensation to the officers or any other personnel. This was offered up many months ago by Ray Garcia's petition. And I think there are some certain realities that we really need to consider with respect to this. I support this, but I would make a modification given that we're really close to the caucus and the state assembly. I don't think we can afford to furlough Alec Hanna because he seems to be the only guy that's putting in a lot of the legwork, and he should be paid accordingly for that. I do agree that Britta or any other individuals, they certainly shouldn't take on compensation per se, but I think we should allow for Alec Hanna to continue to be paid as he's going through the legwork of setting up the caucus and assembly. And so I would make an amendment. I would move that we amend this question just to say except for Alec Hanna. And then everything else stays the same because he should be compensated. Otherwise, we might have a more disastrous assembly if we don't.
And I couldn't agree more, Dave. Alec does an amazing amount of work. He works as many as 15 hours a day. Everything I asked him to do, he gets done. He has been fantastic. And that was my one concern about this issue. So does anybody second Dave's motion? Hugo Chavez. All right. Thank you. Chair recognizes Hugo Chavez.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
point regarding the budget vote back at the state executive committee meeting. Not to relitigate anything, but that was kind of a shady vote since it failed on the first vote and then was voted upon, and a member was allowed to change their vote. So anyway, we won't go there. But I wanted to clarify uh, on this vote. I'm in full support of the proposal on this, with those exceptions that have been mentioned. But are we going to be voting by poll, or how will we be voting
On this issue?
On all the issues?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be by poll. Am I right about that, Jeremy? Anna?
Yes, it's going to be on your screen, Hugo, when
Okay.
when the vote comes out.
Just wanted to double check. Thank you.
And as a point of clarification, we will have to have a separate vote on the amendment before we can adopt the motion. So
Right. On the
currently-
amendment regarding Alec Hanna.
Yeah, so currently, all of those with hands up, the debate is only open right now on the amendment. So if your comments or debate does not have to do with the amendment regarding Alec Hanna, please lower your hand. And then you can raise it again when it's time to get back to the original motion.
All right. Chair recognizes Darcy Schoening.
Thank you, Secretary Andrews. I would not be in support of this amendment. Alec Hanna's salary is excessive compared to the amount of work that's coming out of the GOP office. But on a technical note, I guess since we're all on this call, this affects how we vote. So my question would be, on that recent loan that was taken out by the SEC, why did Richard Holtorf not sign on to that loan? And instead, Alec Hanna, a non-elected staff member, signed as if he were an officer. And I would like that question answered because it affects how we vote on this next amendment.
That's a good question. I actually arranged the loan through the bank of a close friend of mine. It's a $25,000 line of credit, and I let Alec do all the negotiating with them. And frankly, I didn't think about that, Darcy. So I don't know how to answer. Jeremy, any input?
I'm not sure how that would be relevant to this motion.
Yeah, I'm not either. I mean, we do have the line of credit.
Currently though, we are in debate on the amendment to the motion, which I believe is actually being counted against the 26 minute debate clock.
Okay.
So.
All right. Chair recognizes Carl Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Carl Wood, Grant County. I support the motion for concern about the caucus and the state assembly. Excuse me. I think if someone, Alec particularly, does not keep that thing going, it will crash and burn. I would also suggest to Dave to modify the motion to include expenditures specifically towards conducting the state assembly, so that any monies taken through the badges and so forth could be directed that way. There'll have to be some payments made for the assembly to take place. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Dave Williams.
Okay. Hey, hi everyone. I think that's fine. I'm not certain that we need to actually insert that level of specificity, but in order to keep business moving along, I'm happy to do that, and I'll go ahead and retract my my previous amendment and then reoffer, except for Alex Hanna, for and for the revenue that's brought in through the badge fees, that it be directed towards Alec Hanna being able to continue on in his role, so that we can have a successful caucus and assembly.
Anybody second that motion? Is that Carl Wood? Okay. Chair recognizes Sean Verhoff. I need to unmute Sean. You're there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sean Bureau, El Paso County. I call the question.
Okay. Okay.
Russ, as the question has been called, you have to, if there's a second to it, it then has to, we have to take a vote, and 2/3 of the body has to vote in favor of calling the question in order to vote on this question.
Okay, thank you.
Richard Holtorf has seconded the Sean's calling the question.
Okay, great. So should we proceed to a vote then?
We should proceed to a basically a vote with a 2/3 requirement to close debate on this issue.
All right. Cody, you're going to put up a poll?
Yeah, it'll take me just a second to hit launch. Okay. And it should be launching now. It looks like the majority, more than sufficient number, have voted. I will begin closing the poll in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. The ayes have it, 191 to 13 noes.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, back to the
94%.
Yeah, back to the question at hand, regarding the 2.4 million spending authority.
That is incorrect. We've closed discussion on the amendment.
Yes, I know.
So the amendment to the motion.
Right.
So we should proceed to a vote on the motion or on the amendment as offered.
Okay, and I can launch that poll now if you're ready. This will just show up as a simple yes or no. A yes is you are in favor of amending the main motion on the floor to allow the payment to Alacana and for assembly costs. A no is in opposition to that. That poll is launching.
I guess while we're waiting, Chair recognizes Hugo Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hugo Chavez Ray, Denver County. There have been several members that are saying that they can't vote or not receiving the polls. So we want to make sure everybody gets a chance to vote.
Yeah, those numbers seem a little off. Since we have 250 people in the meeting, we had 204 votes.
I will offer some information here. So if you're on your cell phone, it should still display immediately, but if you happen to touch it on accident, it will disappear. Same thing happens on your computer. If the poll disappears and you've not already voted, the round circle at the bottom with the 3 dots that says more should give you the option for polls and quizzes if you have not voted. If you've already voted, it should be gone, or it might show but say that you haven't voted. In the number discrepancy, just because there's 249 people in the room, you have to remember there's also 2 or 3 moderators in the room that do not have voting access, and then other people may step away from their computer for a moment and may not be back by the time a poll closes. So we've had it open for a few minutes on this one, and right now we still only have 212 votes. But at this point, I would, if the chairman is okay with it, I would go ahead and close the polling.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Chair
So-
recognizes Terry Porter.
My question is, it's a point of clarification. Do we know if the treasurer can or will cooperate with this motion?
Well, the treasurer is Richard Keck. He's aligned with Britta Horn, so I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Richard is a man of integrity. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay, thank you.
Chair recognizes Charlie Danaher.
Hi.
Charlie, you should be unmuted now. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Charlie Danner, Boulder County. This amendment brings up to me maybe the fundamental issue with this idea that does this body have the right, or does this body want to micromanage the executive and it's the operation of the party? And two, more generally, which we'll maybe get to next, is what's the source of the authority midstream for this body to withdraw counsel or tie the hands of the executive?
Jeremy?
I didn't hear his direct question. If you could restate.
Well, two things. One is it the intention of this body to micromanage and strike line items from the budget or the intended expenditures of the executive? And more generally, I've heard it been stated by Wes that this body has the authority to cancel or override the executive. And I'm wondering, what's the formal source of the authority for such a claim?
You'd have to ask Mr. Eimer what his reasoning would be on that.
Well, but I don't think it's his responsibility to answer it. He claimed it, and I think the suggestion with this motion, not the one we're on right now, but the canceling the budget, assumes that this body has the authority to cancel the budget and tie the hands of the executive.
Mr. Chair, I can give you the answer if you want.
Sure. And who is this?
Dave Williams.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
So real quick, what I would recommend, just because this is more on the main motion, I'd recommend that we get the results on the amendment first, and then get back into this first. But I can certainly answer the authority that the Central Committee inherently has. It's listed in its bio. It's listed in our, like, the first, I think, might be the second page of the bylaws, but it's also in state law within CRS 1-3-106.
Okay, but speaking to this amendment, is it the intention for us to micromanage line by line expenditures of the executive? That's what I threw out.
Well, the intention of this amendment is to exempt Alex Hanna more or less, so that he can continue his work unabated if the underlying question on the Ray Garcia petition passes. So, but I suspect your question is more geared towards, can the Central Committee, in essence, constrain the executive? And the answer is yes, but it should do so under only extraordinary circumstances, which I believe we're at the moment.
All right, because we're setting precedent and example of how we expect this body to operate. We just want to. This will not be the last time someone wants to do such a thing.
Okay, but we are $90,000 in debt. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Richard Holtorf.
1 second before Richard begins talking. This is Cody LeBlanc. Can I provide the results of the amendment so that you can continue the debate?
Cody. Yep.
The total votes cast in the amendment were 214. Of those, 17 abstained, 12 voted no, and 185 voted yes. So the motion passes at 86% of votes cast.
All right, thank you, Cody. Again, Chair recognizes Vice Chair Richard Holtorf.
Okay, you gotta mute me. Okay, there we go. For Charlie, the State Central Committee is the body, and the chair and the executive are to work for the body. That is the will of the people that are assigned to the State Central Committee. We must never forget that in our organization, and that has been a problem. And not just this year or last year, it's been a problem over time that oftentimes people forget. And I will be brief. There are times under extraordinary circumstances, as Mr. Williams mentioned, where the body does need to interfere. And we are there now by virtue of this meeting and having a quorum to address these matters. So we absolutely need to address the issues, the primary issues, discuss them and vote on them. What the executive and those officials do largely depends on their understanding of working for the will of the body or working for themselves, or they feel they're a higher authority to the will of the body. And that's the problem, and that's why we're here today. And that's why by the end of this month, I will no longer be your vice chair, among other things.
Thanks, Richard. But does anyone see, and I don't have any personal problem with Dave Williams, but does anyone see a contrast between when someone has been the executive and when someone has not been the executive? The rules should be the same whether Dave Williams is chair or someone else's chair. And I just wanted us to be honest and fair about how we want and expect these bodies to operate, the Central Committee and the executive. I want us to be fair and reasonable now and going forward, how what authority and what handcuffs we want to place on the executive. That's my point.
Okay, Chair recognizes Brad Collins.
I would ask the member specifically what violation or procedure has been committed, because I will piggyback on the previous member, Mr. Holtorf. The leadership and the executive committee serve at the pleasure of the central committee. So the member that is bringing up the, we'll say, discrepancy, if he could point to a specific violation, I would like to know what that is, because I do not see anything that is out of the purview of the bylaws or within the interest of the State Central Committee, regardless of what side you're on.
All right, Chair recognizes.
If I may interject.
Yep.
Section B of Article 3, it's basically the second page of our bylaws, reads as follows. The Colorado Republican State Central Committee shall have and may exercise all such powers as are expressly or impliedly conferred upon it by these bylaws and by the laws of the state of Colorado, provided the same are not inconsistent with the laws of the state of Colorado and the laws of the United States. That is, that the State Central Committee is the ultimate body of this organization. That is in conjunction with the state laws, and the bylaws themselves are self-consistent. But that's where the State Central Committee has the overriding authority, and all other organizations and additional bodies are subservient to that. Like all of their authority is derived from the devolvement of that power by the State Central Committee.
All right.
So,
okay, thank you. We have exceeded the 26-minute limit for debate. So I want to move for a vote, yes or no on this issue.
If you'll give me just a moment so I can open the poll with the amendment.
Okay.
At this point, time has expired just for everyone in the chat. Time has expired for debate on the motion. So the only hands that should be up at this point are points of order and points of clarification. So please go ahead and lower your hands if you'd like to be called on. And Russ, you can call on them while I launch this.
All right. Chair recognizes Laurel Eimer.
Oh,
Please
she
unmute,
can.
Laurel.
There you go.
Thank you. Laurel Eimer, Jefferson County. I want to address the previous member in his questions regarding the Central Committee and the Executive Committee. I represent the Executive Committee from the Congressional District 7, and I'm also a bonus member for Jefferson County and CD7. The reason that the SCC, the body, has the authority over the Executive Committee is the SCC is actually all elected membership. The Executive Committee is a joint effort of elected members as well as appointed members from the chair directly. So, as we've seen, that can be skewed in one way or another because the chair has the ability to appoint members to that body, whereas the State Central Committee is all elected members. And so that is why that broader authority is given to that body. And maybe that helps to clarify why that holds that power. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Eimer. The chair recognizes David DiCarlo.
And the poll, let me unmute David, and then I will launch the poll. David, you'll be unmuted now.
Thank you. Great. Listen, we're all taking this meeting together at tables. We're doing our caucus prep day today. And what I can tell you is we have an enormous amount of people with their hands up while the same 6 people keep talking. It's starting to feel like a complete and total waste of our time. And we're multitasking today. So that's the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is anything we decide today is headed to court anyway. The Dungeons and Dragons rules lawyering, I understand it's important to some of you, but the reason you've got half of this body on today is to give a vote of no confidence. That's what they're waiting for, while everybody else arm wrestles about this motion and that motion, okay? You're in risk of losing people because they're not getting to participate. So I want to let folks know that. We've heard from those same 6 over and over. Open it up. Obviously, there are a lot of people with their hands up.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, David. I couldn't agree more. Stephen Collar was recognized by the chair.
Mr. Chair, yeah, point of inquiry to echo my esteemed colleague from Douglas County, Dave DiCarlo. There's a lot of conversation that's going back and forth, and all the members being online, it is challenging for folks to follow what amendments are being addressed or voted on. And then we hear Mr. Williams had pulled his amendment back, but yet discussion continued. And then at the same time, folks are hearing that a poll is being launched. Mr. Chair, I would recommend that we take far more control of this meeting. I would limit debate on the particular amendments, and I would please ask for each to be restated specifically, either through what Ms. Ferguson is capturing as the secretary, so that we have clarity in this process, because right now it seems like there's just back and forth banter going on, and there is no clarification on what exactly is being voted on, and moving on to the next motion, and limiting the conversation on each of those motions specifically back to those. That would really help this meeting move along. Thank you.
Okay, I very much appreciate that. Anna, could you please repeat back the motion?
Russ, that was, I didn't have that. I haven't been writing down the motions.
I have it.
I don't know why anybody thinks that I'm taking
Go
any
ahead.
notes. I'm just
Okay, Anna,
recording the
thanks.
call.
I
Go
have
ahead,
it
Cody.
for the teller committee. So the motion on the floor that the poll will be launching is, given the dire financial position of the CRC faces, blah, blah, blah. The actual gist of the question is, shall all spending authority adopted by Chairman Britta Horn while furloughing all personnel compensation and benefits until the CRC raises 4 months worth of total expenses as defined by Chairman Horn's previously adopted 2.4 million spending plan. The amendment was passed to allow for payments to Alec Hanna and for assembly purposes. So
Great.
I will now launch that poll.
Thank you. And just to clarify, a yes vote, we, it takes away the $2.4 million spending authority.
Yes. And I'd like to thank everyone for their patience during this. We all hate virtual meetings. That is something that is known. I will work, Russ, if you're okay with it, I will monitor your hands and just tell you who's next if that works. And then
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Anything to expedite this.
Okay. Well, while the poll is still ongoing, Marty has her hand up, I'm assuming for a point of inquiry or point of clarification. I will unmute her if you'd like to recognize her.
Yeah, the chair recognizes Marty Nielsen.
Marty Nielsen, Boulder County. I agree with Mr. Collier. Would the chairman please take control of this meeting? Motions need to be repeated before we vote on them. None of us know what's going on in this meeting.
Well, the motion
It's
just
very
was
frustrating.
the motion just was repeated about a minute ago.
I heard blah, blah, blah.
You did hear blah, 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 and I apologize, Marty. There was a lot of fluff words at the beginning, so I chose to only read the portion
We
that was
need
the
to
crux.
state the motion, not blah, blah, blah. The motion needs to be stated.
Cody, you want to do that or you
The
want me to?
chairman needs to restate the
Okay.
motion
Here we
before
go.
we take a vote.
The first question before the body reads, given the dire financial position the CRC faces with record declining fundraising, shall the CRC suspend the 2.4 million in spending authority adopted by Chairwoman Britta Horn while furloughing all personnel compensation and benefits until the CRC raises 4 months worth of total expenses, which is $100,000 a month, as defined by Chairwoman Horn's previously adopted 2.4 million spending plan. So there's the motion.
Weston Eimer was also has his hand up. I will
Chair
unmute him.
recognizes Westernheimer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Pardon me, you make my Carson's quiet. First up, I was named by one of our fellow members. I do believe I have a chance to respond to that. So please, in the future, make sure that if a member is named specifically, that they are called on. That is all I'm going to say. It's not worth bringing up what was said again. So,
Okay,
thanks.
good point. Thank you. Chair recognizes Terry Porter.
You read was the main motion. It was amended, so we need to make note that any votes right now are on the amended motion, which was to restrict, but to allow for payment of Mr. Hannon.
Yes.
Okay.
And for clarification, all of the amendments will be added to the poll so that you see those on there as well.
Does that suffice, Terry?
I was just making sure that people understood what's being voted on.
All right,
That it
thank you,
has
Terry.
amended.
Yep, thank you. Chair recognizes Eric Grossman.
Eric, you're unmuted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Eric Grossman, Mineral County. Again, there are a handful of people who say they're not getting the poll. Respectfully, we need to address those individuals in the chat who are saying they're not getting the poll. Thank you.
Again, if you look down at the bottom right corner of your Zoom page, you'll see the word more, a circle and 3 dots. I believe if you tap on that, you'll be reintroduced to the poll.
Yes. And Anna is in the chat trying to work with those people individually.
Okay, good. Chair
Your next
recognizes
Marty.
Go ahead. If Chair recognizes Marty Nielsen.
Terry just made the point that we were voting on the amendment, but that's not what was restated. What are we voting on?
Jeremy?
The vote on at this point is actually on the amended motion. The amendment
Would you
was
please
voted
read
on
the
and passed.
amendment?
The amendment was voted on and passed. We're actually voting on the motion right now, Marty.
Thank you.
Dave Williams is next.
Chair recognizes Dave Williams.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I would ask everyone to have patience, and I understand what Marty is saying and what others are bringing up, but I want to point out that Cody has been very diligent about putting the final question in the actual poll. So if there is a concern about what are we voting on, read the poll because it has the question in it and you can vote yes, no, or abstain. But right now we're voting on the question that was amended per my recommendation on Alec. And as soon as it's closed, we'll have the results and we can move on. So.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Chair recognizes Terry Porter.
Dave just said what I was going to say. Because the previous speaker said that we were on the amendment. No, we've already voted on the amendment, and that was to allow Mr. Hanna to be paid. That was the exception to the first main motion, which was the document you read at the beginning and just now.
Okay, great.
So,
thank you, Terry.
And if you're ready, I know that there are people that are still having some struggles with voting. Anna is trying to get those handled, but if you, I have zero way of verifying because these are set up as anonymous polls to ensure members' privacy.
And I have not received the poll yet personally.
You have not, Russ?
No.
Well, that's helpful. So I'm going to check one more thing, but I would ask that we allow the poll to stay open for about 30 more seconds to allow people to try and find it. Russ, can you check your three dots?
Yeah, what do there's captions, docs, notes, whiteboard, reset to default.
Next to it, do you see polls anywhere?
Nope.
Okay. You're on a desktop?
Yeah, laptop.
Okay, it may have fallen below one of your other screens on Zoom, so try to.
Any ideas here?
But I know you have to do a lot of clicking, so yours goes away.
Somebody is sharing their screen.
Yeah, what's loading, Cody?
Well, nobody should be.
Somebody unshared their screen. For those on a computer, for technical purposes, if you would like, you can hold down the Alt key and tap your tab key. It will show you all the windows you have open on your computer, allowing you to see if it fell behind the Zoom screen with all of your pictures.
Yeah, the chair still does not have the poll.
Okay. Well, I will work to revise them. It has
by the
been...
way, my vote is yes.
Okay. I'm going to end this poll and state the numbers. So in this poll, 217 votes were cast digitally. Of those 217, 11 abstained, 11 voted no, and 195 or 90% voted yes. So the motion to cease spending, allowing for payments to Alec Hanna and Assembly has passed.
Awesome. All right, great. Item 2, and this should go fast, folks. We don't need a lot of motions, a lot of questions. Shall Chairwoman Britta Horn, including all other CRC officers and appointed staff and legal counsel, cease all legal action and their divisive attempts to recover attorney's fees and pursue sanctions against those who asked the court to intervene in El Paso County Court District Court Case 2025 CV 30292. Is there a motion?
Raymond has his hand up.
Raymond. So Raymond, the chair recognizes Ray Garcia.
Ray Garcia, El Paso County, so moved.
Okay. Chair recognizes Randy Corcoran.
I second the motion. And
Okay,
also, folks should know that that court case, the court has ruled against Britta for attorney's fees and costs. So it may be moot, but passing this amendment would allow us to stop them from any appeals or motions to reconsider, anything like that.
Okay. Is there any debate on this issue? Well, then I move that we move to vote.
The poll is now open.
Excellent.
Move every couple minutes, so I do. I move and then I go there and I move back here and I go there. I just move this over.
Ray, you're unmuted.
Cody, is there a way for people to turn off their pop-up blockers? Because that's what some people are saying is the reason why the poll's not showing up.
Yes, if you, Cody, I can walk through it if you would like.
Yes, please.
If you go into your Zoom, hold on, Cody. Sorry, I just broke it. 1 second. Okay, my apologies. Inside your Chrome, your browser settings, if you click on the 3 dots in the upper right, you will need to go to Settings, Privacy, Site Settings, and you will have to turn off your pop-up blocker. I can put those instructions in the chat as well.
And while we're finishing waiting up on some of these, just to try and ease some of the concerns and frustrations from this, these have been tested. We've been on Zoom calls every day, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, testing for the last 2 weeks, to ensure that this works. We've done everything in our power to ensure that the polls are accurate, that they launch, and short of being able to be with you, there's not much that we can offer other than we can offer to help. But there were concerns regarding keeping track of names. So Russ, you're muted. Let me unmute you. Thank you for waving. But I will just let you know Brandy Bradley has her hand up, and then after her, I can probably.
And the chair recognizes Brandy Bradley.
Brandy,
please, there you go.
Okay,
Brandy?
thank you. This is the first poll I didn't get, guys, and I don't have a pop-up, but I didn't get that poll, so just to let you know.
How would you vote if you'd like to say it in public?
Not necessarily, because I feel like I'm going to be attacked either way. So,
all right.
Brandy, do you have more at the bottom of your screen with the 3
Yes.
dots? If you open that, do you see polls and quizzes?
Yes.
Click on that.
Yes, there it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're the best. Appreciate it.
Okay, I will end the poll now. And in this poll, we had 217 ballots cast. Of those, 8 abstained, 5 voted no, and 204 voted in the affirmative. The motion passes at 94% in favor.
Okay, great. All right, we're almost there, folks. The final question reads, does the membership of the CRC have confidence in the continued leadership of Britta Horn? Is there a motion? Chair recognizes Raymond Garcia.
I motion. So moved.
Okay, chair recognizes Weston Eimer.
For clarification, before you recognize Weston, Ray's motion is just a simple motion. It doesn't say that he doesn't have confidence in the chair or that he does. So could he restate his motion to be in line with Robert's rules?
Go ahead, Ray.
So the motion is, do we have confidence in the chair? I vote, I'm saying no. So I move that be adopted.
So to clarify, your motion is that the body does not have confidence in Chairman Horn.
The body does, yes, to clarify, the body does not have confidence in Chairman Horn.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, chair recognizes Alexander Talentire.
Alex put his hand down. It looks like
Okay,
Weston is
chair,
next.
Okay, Chair recognizes Westenheimer.
Thank you. I second the motion and I move to make an amendment to the motion. I move that we amend the motion on the floor to state that we have no confidence in Chairwoman Horn and the SCC calls for her immediate resignation. Is there a second to my motion?
Well, if I'm allowed to second it, then I do second it. That being me, Russ Andrews.
Okay. So now you'll open debate on the motion to
And I'd like to read from an email that I sent out to the body last week. I'll try and shorten it up here. In the meantime, I'm going to hand the gavel over to Jeremy Goodall. So Jeremy, your temporary chair. I'm going to try and make this short. Richard Holtorf and I have had a front row seat to the dysfunction of this party and of Britta Horn. In early November, it was obvious to me that Britta had no capacity to pick up her telephone and raise money via donations. I have made over 113,000 cold call dials in my life. As a financial advisor, it allowed me to move my family out to Aspen, Colorado. Lauren Boebert asked me to help Britta make cold call dials, and she has rebuked me at every turn. On November 19th, Congressman Jeff Crank initiated a Zoom call with all 4 of our congressional representatives. I called 2 of them that afternoon and asked them to hold Britta's feet to the fire regarding fundraising. Understand this, folks. Britta thought she was going to get $200,000 to $300,000 from Eric Grossman, Cody LeBlanc, and their lawyers. Didn't happen, obviously. So I did call 2 of our Congress people and asked them to hold Britta's feet to the fire regarding fundraising. One congressman forced Britta to pick an amount she would raise during December, that number that she came up with, and claimed, and confirmed that she would raise was $75,000. I don't believe she raised even a third of that. In my opinion, an honorable person would have apologized to all concerned and tendered her resignation effective immediately. Britta had originally arranged for weekly leadership meetings every Monday morning between her, me, Richard Holtorf, and Christy Fedora. The meetings were typically heated affairs, especially between Richard and Britta, as Ms. Horn is utterly incapable of taking advice from anyone other than her attorney at a price of $700 an hour. Richard spent approximately 150 hours of his time developing an AI platform for all Colorado candidates to use at no cost. In our last leadership meeting about 2 months ago, Richard tried to present this powerful, fresh idea. Britta shot it down in less than 3 seconds for the simple reason that it wasn't her idea. We've not had a leadership meeting since, and Britta refuses to take Richard's or my phone calls, much the same way she treated Daryl Phelan, the former VC who resigned out of similar frustration with Ms. Horn. Later that day, Richard and I discussed resigning the following Monday, but I was talked off the edge by my wife, Lori, by my congressman, Jeff Herr, his chief of staff, and my political advisor. The following Monday, I was contacted by an SCC member who asked me to email the recall petition to her. I told this person I would sign it. She was to start circulating it that Thursday. I took it upon myself on Wednesday to call Britta to let her know about the petition and also to let her know that I planned on signing it. As is her custom, she screamed at me for about 12 minutes, then she hung up. We have not spoken since. Unfortunately, the woman who was going to circulate the petition got cold feet on Thursday. So great timing on my part. Effective leadership requires all of us to work with our peers, whether we like them or not. I attended a military college, and Richard's obviously achieved rank of colonel in the Army. We both recognize good and bad leadership. Britta's leadership skills are abhorrent. Britta raised about 1/6 in donations, as did her counterpart in the Colorado Democrat Party last year, which is abhorrent. Britta has had 9 people quit their positions, including our last gubernatorial candidate, the overqualified Richard Holtorf and Daryl Phelan. And 6 other people that were great leaders have just decided they cannot work with her. Garcia's petition, let's skip that part. By the way, when we came into office, we owed Britta's attorney. I was corrected. I thought $90,000. It was actually $50,000. We have paid him scores of thousands of dollars. Yet the party still owes me approximately $10,000 for out-of-pocket travel expenses, which really pisses me off. We currently owe her lawyers some $141,000. Jason Entz of Fremont County is circulating a recall petition for Britta, and I asked you all to sign it. As Hugo Chavez told me several weeks ago, Britta, in her own weird way, found a way to unite our party. Should Britta be recalled, my very first phone call will be to Steve Kalenda, Britta's attorney, and I'll tell him we're starting at zero. And I want an itemized list of every minute that he's billed us for, whether it happened before September 27th or after September 27th, and whether it happened the billing before Britta assumed the chairmanship. I've had a front row seat again to this dysfunction. Also, I want to let you know, on I think it was Tuesday, could have been Monday. I went to check my Colorado email, and understand this, folks. This is an unpaid position, but I work 4 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week on this job. And she had disabled both mine and Richard Holtorf's emails. So I called up 2 of our Congress people, 3 actually, and one of their chiefs of staff got back to me, called Britta up, and negotiated with Britta that if I only use my email to contact her, Alec, the Secretary of State, or county central committees, that she would turn my email back on. Ernest Looning called me that evening. He's a reporter, and he wanted my comment on that. And apparently she tasked Alec Hanna with making up a lie, which was that there was a technical difficulty with our emails, when in fact she had personally turned it off, as she told this chief of staff. So that's the nature of the person we're dealing with. It's one thing to be incompetent. It's quite another thing to be a liar. And that's all I have to say. Jeremy, you want to give me the gavel back?
Jeremy, I have to unmute you just a second.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yes. I believe actually, since you've taken the time to debate and stuff, it's actually more appropriate for me to conduct the business from this point on.
Jeremy, your next person is Eric Grossman.
Chair recognizes Eric Grossman.
Eric, you're unmuted.
Thank you. Eric Grothman, Mineral County. The debate will be robust. I'm not going to get into the debate. I do strongly recommend to the body, when this vote is taken, that this be a roll call vote. All the other votes have been overwhelmingly to one side. And for those that are not able to vote, I think a roll call vote is the only way to make sure that this vote is a binding vote once taken.
Thank you. Chairman, your next person is John Fielding.
Chair recognizes John Fielding.
John, you're unmuted.
Good afternoon, John Fielding, Douglas County. I think one thing that this committee needs to be aware of is that, in a sense, this vote is symbolic. That no matter how we vote on this motion, whether we have confidence in Britta or we don't, that is not going to affect Britta's continuation in office. The bylaws that we have a separate removal procedure, and we are not following that. So this will not have the effect of causing Britta or anyone else to lose their office. And I think everyone on this meeting should be aware of that. The second thing is that depending on how this motion is phrased, you may, in order to express no confidence in Britta, you may have to vote yes. And that if you vote no, meaning I don't have confidence, the motion, you may end up voting against the motion that says that our body does not have confidence. So before we have a vote on this, the chair should clarify just exactly what a yes vote and a no vote mean. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I will take that under advisement and be sure to be very clear on which ways the yes and no's go.
Chairman Jeremy Goodall, before we move into additional debate, I just wanted to remind we are currently only debating the amendment to the motion, which was calling for the resignation of Britta Horn that was offered by Weston Eimer and seconded by Secretary Andrews. Your next person is Janice Weipert.
Chair recognizes Janice.
Janice, you're unmuted.
Thank you. So my understanding with the motion and the amendment that it did restate the way we vote, and that a yes will mean yes, she is sorry. It means she is I'm sorry, guys, this is crazy. But a yes vote means that we do not have confidence in her. I believe that was the restatement and the amendment. So we do need to clarify that. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion.
Thank you, Janice. And as the teller committee, we have updated the ballot so that it should be user-friendly for you, but Jeremy will explain it better when it comes time for that. Your next person is Terry Porter.
Chair recognizes Terry Porter.
For all the times I've not said this, is Terry Porter from Mesa County. I appreciate the last couple of comments because that clarification is important, that a yes means that you do not have confidence and a no means that you do have confidence, which is kind of backwards that John brought to our attention. The major concern I have is that while this vote of confidence does not necessarily mean she's gone or anything like that, it is a measuring stick that said maybe some other things need to be done to remove. But my biggest concern has always been the time frame of where we are, even with Mr. Holtorf's resignation. We're putting ourselves in a bad position because our bylaws say the time frame by which we have to replace people is going to cause us another problem in front of the convention or the assembly. So I think I wish that everyone would consider us getting through April 12th and then having some people resign and push for removals after that point, because it's making it really hard for those of us on the county level to keep doing our job with so much turmoil and extra meetings and other things that are happening on the state level. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Again, as a reminder, this is only debate on the amendment to the motion calling for the resignation as part of this. So please, if you've got your hand up, your comments really need to only be referred in reference to the resignation question. Jeremy, your next person is Brad Collins.
Chair recognizes Brad Collins.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment. We have to be careful about correcting symptoms and not correcting the problem. The current chairman is in office because of one segment. 90% of our elected officials that serve on this, by definition, on the State Central Committee is who put her in office. If accountability is to be held, it needs to be held with everybody at the leadership, to include the Senate Minority Leader, the House Minority Leader, the National Committee Chairwoman. There's a lot of people that have their hands in the cookie jar here. I think we need to consider that. I think this needed to be said.
All right.
Jeremy, just as a point for you, debate time on the overall motion is about to expire. If you'd like to allow for any debate on that, perhaps we should move to the motion on the amendment, if that is your decision and the will of the body.
Looking kind of through the comments, I believe the body. I'm just going to ask people to. I think we should probably continue discussion. There seems to be a lot of hands raised, so if people could just keep their comments to just as tight as they possibly can and limit it to the language of calling for the amendment and the calling for the resignation. Chair recognizes. Chair recognizes Mr. Richard Holtorf.
Richard, I'll unmute you. There you go.
Thank you, Chairman Pro Tem. Call for resignation. It's all declaratory. Okay, we know there's no action. The person would have to resign for there to be action. It's declaratory. So, is it time for a new direction? The answer is yes. Those elected officials are going to get by without us. They have before, and they have to now, because we are not doing a good job of supporting them with campaign funding and other resources that they need. So I'm going to vote for the resignation, call for resignation. What Britta does is up to Britta, but this is just a declaratory statement from the body that, hey, you know, it might be time to think about doing something else because we're not getting it done. Clearly, we're not getting it done. And I've got on the lifeboat and started paddling because the Titanic has been sinking now for a month or two or more. And we need new leadership. We need new, fresh leadership so we can move forward as a party and not this vindictive lawfare and this backstabbing circular firing squad that I've witnessed. It doesn't unify the party. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Goodall, time has expired for debate on the motion.
Time has expired for debate on the amendment to the motion. So if we could go ahead and launch the poll on that.
Okay, and this will be a simple poll on a yes or no vote on the amendment. It is not written. So again, a yes vote is you are in favor of amending the motion to include the request for Chairman Britta Horn's resignation.
So a yes vote is to add the language. A no vote is to leave it as was offered by Mr. Ray Garcia.
Jeremy, Weston Eimers had his hand raised for quite a while.
So what?
There are a number of people that have had their hands up for quite some time. But the chair will recognize Weston. May take a second because Cody's got to unmute. So
sorry, did you want him recognized now or after the vote?
I suppose now would be appropriate. He was the one that offered the amendment.
Okay. Weston
Thank
is
you.
unmuted.
Yes, I was rising to clarify questions on my amendment, but none of you guys ever recognized me. So, yes, this amendment is declaratory, as Richard Holtorf stated. We are not voting to remove her here. This is just a public call from members of the Central Committee to call for her resignation. Right? That's what we're all here for. As we all know, a vote of no confidence is nothing more than a vote of no confidence. It's saying we're not confident in her leadership, but now we're just simply asking that she resign and save us the trouble of having to remove her. Right? And there was some points brought up that, you know, this would call for another special meeting. Yes, it would, should she resign. But in the interim, Russ Andrews would be acting chair, and that can get us through the assembly if we need to. And Vice Chair Holtorf can always rescind his resignation if she resigns and stay on through the assembly, and then we can hold a new election for a new chair, right? That is the point I was trying to make here with this, but I was not recognized before the vote was cast. So I hope you guys will vote yes on this amendment so that we can get the show on the road. Thank you.
And there, Chairman Goodall, there has not been a lot of new votes come in over the last few seconds.
All right.
So when you're ready, just let me know and I'll close the poll.
Yeah. Let's give it another 30 seconds.
It looks like some people are voting in the chat.
Hold on one moment.
Unfortunately, voting within the chat can't be verified as having not also cast a ballot within the anonymized polling. So I appreciate the annoyance of that, but that won't be added to the numbers.
Okay, your 30-second timer has expired. I will end the poll. On this amendment, the cast reduction of those were abstentions, 20 voted no, and 187 or 86% voted yes. So the amendment has passed. So the new motion on the floor is, let me pull it up so I can read it and make sure I've got it correctly. The CRC has no confidence in Chairman Britta Horn's leadership and calls for the immediate resignation of Chairman Horn.
All right. Based on that language,
So a yes vote would be, yes, I have no confidence in Chairman Horn and call for her resignation, or no, I still have confidence in Chairman Horn and do not seek her resignation. And that is written out in the poll to help with clarity.
Excellent. And just so we're all very clear, if you are happy with Britta, you would vote no on this measure. If you're unhappy with Britta, you would vote yes on this measure.
Okay. Are you opening the floor for discussion, or has time expired for the entire motion?
I'm going to go ahead and allow further discussion. I'm just seeing a lot of hands.
Do you want
Now
to
this
set
is
a time?
discussion on the main motion. So
Yes. Do you have a time limit that you're setting?
I'm going to go ahead and set a timer. We'll go with I think probably maybe another 10, 15 minutes. Let everybody see the light at the end of the tunnel here.
Okay. Your next person is Thomas Scoville.
Chair recognizes Thomas.
Okay. Thomas, you're unmuted.
I'd like to make a point of order here. As I recall, our rules of debate limit any speaker to 2 minutes. Yet our chairman gave up the chair, spoke for 6. Does he get special privileges? I don't like that. I'd also like to point out that we had one gentleman that stood up and pointed out that the recognition of speakers was not being evenly distributed. That continues. Do you have to be named Emmer or Holtdorf to get a chance to speak here? What type of operation are you running? This sounds like something Britta Horn would do. To clean up your act, Mr. Chairman, and conduct a proper meeting. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Theo Barker.
I'd like to call the question.
All right.
Second.
All right. Question has been
second that.
called. So let's move to a poll for the closing of debate. That's going to require a 2/3 majority. I'm fairly certain from what I'm seeing, we'll probably achieve that.
Okay. That poll is launched.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll leave the poll open for about 20 more seconds to allow any last minute. Okay. I'm closing the poll.
All right.
On the question of closing debate and calling the question, 207 votes were cast, 10 abstained, 13 voted no, 184 voted yes. The motion passes at 89%, which supersedes the 67% requirement.
So debate on the main motion is closed. We will now move to vote on the adoption of the motion, the no confidence vote on Chairwoman Horn.
Okay. So again, I will read this before I launch it, and then I'll read it again once it's posted. So the way the question reads, the CRC has no confidence in Chairman Britta Horn's leadership and calls for the immediate resignation of Chairman Horn. Your choices will be yes, I have no confidence in Chairman Horn and call for her resignation. No, I still have confidence in Chairman Horn and do not seek her resignation, or abstain. I will launch that. And again, it should be on your screen, but the CRC has no confidence in Chairman Britta Horn's leadership and calls for the immediate resignation of Chairman Horn. Choices are yes, I have no confidence in Chairman Horn and call for her resignation. No, I still have confidence in Chairman Horn and do not seek her resignation, or abstain.
Chair would ask the body to read carefully and be very considerate in how you are casting this ballot.
And Cody, this is Russ. I know that Leslie Parker from Delta County is not able to vote.
Okay.
Mr. Pro Tem, this is the credentialing committee chair. Can I ask to be recognized for just a moment, please?
Chair recognizes credentials chair.
Thank you. To our moderator, point of question. I just had to let in a couple of our members that right as the poll was coming through that had gotten kicked out previously. Will the poll present to them as well?
It should. It should.
Okay, that's fine. If I can ask if you can check on Rose, or Rose, if you can put in the chat if you were unable to see the poll, please. I just want to verify that that did come through. Thank you.
And Chairman Goodall, I'm assuming that Lisa Zimmerman has a point of order or point of clarification. Would you like to recognize her now?
Yes, Chair recognizes Lisa Zimmerman.
Lisa Zimmerman, La Plata County. We wanted on official record that our bonus member, Jody Zuber, has not been able to vote in any of the single votes this entire meeting. So we want that on official record that we have members in our county that have not been able to vote this entire time. Thank you.
Noted.
Thank you, Lisa.
And you have our apologies. Technology issues are, what they are, which is why I think a lot of us are deeply wanting to move to in-person meetings as a primary conveyance and means of conducting business.
Okay. Right now you have one of the highest polls we've done. Would you like to leave it open longer, or?
I'd say we give it another 30 seconds.
Okay.
If anyone that hasn't, if you could put it in the chat or indicate in some way. We want to be sure that everybody has every opportunity to vote.
Okay. 30-second timer has ended. I will end the poll.
All right.
On the question of confidence in Chairman Horn, there were 221 votes cast. Of the 221 votes cast, 14 abstained, 9 voted no, and 198 or 90% voted yes. The motion passes.
Yes. Chairman Pro Tem now hands the gavel back to Secretary Russ Andrews.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy, for everything you did there. I really appreciate it. Final credentials report. Chair recognizes the Credentials Committee Chair for any final report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate that. Just a final report. Throughout the meeting, we did let in additional members that were kicked out for any reason. We landed at a final credential number of 246 of the eligible 498. never breaching our committed to 250 number.
Okay, great.
What was the percentage on that?
Oh, thank you. The percentage ended at 49.4%.
Great. Thank you very much. If there is no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Russ, you've got a few hands up before that.
Okay,
And you
yeah,
also need a motion to adopt the final credentials report.
Okay, all
Weston
right.
Eimer is the first person on the list.
Yeah, please, Chair recognizes Weston.
Mr. Chairman, I will make the motion to adopt the final credentials report. I also would like to take a moment of personal privilege, if I may, and remind this body that there is a dueling meeting happening on March 3rd, I believe, that
Second.
Chairwoman Horn has called. Second, thank you. And I would encourage every member that is in this meeting today to please attend that meeting, as to avoid the double dueling meetings like we had 2 years ago that caused all of this turmoil to begin with. So please take to the body, all of you, take this to heart. Please attend that meeting, and please vote the same way you did today at that meeting, so that we don't have a difficult time trying to rule out validity of each meeting. This needs to stand, and I ask that you please take that into consideration. And again, I make the motion to adopt the final credentials report.
All right, thank you, Weston. And by the way, I concur with that. If you attended this meeting, I ask that you please attend the March 2nd meeting. Chair recognizes Joan Poston.
Can you repeat the vote on the last post?
Yes, Joan, but first, we can't move off of this until we have a second on the motion
I
to
have a
adopt the credentials
second
report.
for the adoption.
Okay.
You just run through the numbers and I can't write them down fast enough.
Nope,
I've
that's
had
okay.
my hand up 6 times and
That's okay, Joan. I will read those numbers for you. Thank you for the second on it. 221 votes were cast. 198 voted yes. 9 voted no. 14 abstained.
Yeah. Chair recognizes Tom Cooper.
Tom, you're unmuted. Well, you are unmuted, but we can't hear you, Tom.
Okay, how about now?
Yes.
All right. My question about this Monday meeting that she has called, I have some problems with people attending that, and maybe you can, write me on this.
Tom,
But,
Tom, sorry to interrupt. Right now, we have a motion on the floor only to accept the credentials report. So we can only take comments or questions right now in reference to the final credentials report.
okay, so I would like to be able to make this statement when we're done with that, if that's okay.
Okay. Secretary Andrews, will you call on Tom Cooper as soon as the vote on credentials is done?
Absolutely. Chair recognizes Theo Barker.
Thank you. Theo, you should be unmuted.
I had my hand up to move to adjourn.
Oh, okay.
But that's out of order. So please, let's vote on the report and let's move on.
Okay. I don't see any other questions or hands up yet. So I will launch the poll if you're okay with that to accept the final credentials report. Is that okay, Secretary Andrews? Chairman Andrews?
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
Okay, it is a simple yes or no vote to adopt the credentials final credentials report.
All right. While we're doing all that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Before you do, Russ, will you take the two? Will you recognize Tom Cooper and Richard Holtorf?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry about that. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry, Tom.
Okay, no
Yeah,
problem.
chair recognizes Tom Cooper.
The reason that I'm concerned about attending the Monday meeting is that, first of all, I have been moving to remove her since the day she was elected, and I really think we could have avoided all of this if we would have moved faster. But the fact is where we are right now. When this motion came up to call this meeting, I was hopeful that we could reorganize it in a way to we could make that vote to remove her today as well. We obviously can't do that. It didn't get done. We've got to have another meeting to do that, which we should work on getting done as quickly as possible. The problem is that she did not respond to Ray Garcia within the time required by the bylaws. In my estimation, that means she lost the ability to call any kind of meeting regarding this. Because the fact is that we had to call it and you had to actually call it when you reconsidered the motion. And that was a call to a meeting to override anything Britta may do because she lost the ability to have anything to say about it because she refused to follow the bylaws and call for the meeting. So why should we honor her ability to call another meeting now when in fact she really has no right to call that meeting? If we do that, we're legitimizing something that she has no legitimate right to do. Now, somebody, maybe John Fielding, wants to straighten me out on that. I don't know if Ben Nichols is still in here. I saw him earlier, but I don't think that we should legitimize anything she says or does at this point. She has basically taken herself out of the picture. We need to move against her and get her out of that office because she has burnt this party to the ground. And anybody who doesn't understand that is blind, complicit, or a lemming. There's something wrong if you're supporting this woman and what she has done to this party. So that's my opinion on it, and please tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Thank you, Tom. Secretary Andrews, I'm ready to close the poll on credentialing report.
Okay, please do.
On closing or accepting the final credentials report, 194 votes were cast, 185 voted yes, 3 voted no, 6 voted to abstain. I know you've got a lot of hands up that want to still talk, and to your comment about calling for a motion to adjourn, I just wanted to offer that we will leave the Zoom meeting open for a few minutes after the meeting is over. So if there's things you guys still want to talk about, but keep in mind that it is being live streamed to YouTube. So if something doesn't get to be brought up, you're welcome to stay around and chat with the people who are still here after the meeting is adjourned. But
all right. And by the way, Cody, thank you. You've done a great job. Because John Fielding was called out, Chair recognizes John Fielding.
John, I need to unmute you. There you go.
The point my response, since I was called on, is that it's not just Britta. Apparently the executive committee has taken action regarding the regularity of Mr. Garcia's petition. So it's not just Britta. There's also a question of whether or not the executive committee and its prerogatives to resolve party controversies are involved in this. But practically speaking, I would attend that meeting coming up because one of the things I would be doing is trying real hard to find a way to put a proper motion to remove on the agenda for that meeting, and then to get our people there. I think some of the impatience in this committee is well-founded. We've had enough dicking around with this. We ought to be able to try to put on the ballot at the March 2nd meeting a motion to remove her from office. Now, bear in mind, that will take a vote of 60% of the entire Central Committee to do that, which means that if we don't get at least 60% of the Central Committee there, then that motion becomes academic. But if we're serious about trying to get rid of Britta Horn, that's what we have to do.
Thank you, John. I will remind everybody that Jason Enset of Swatch County is circulating a petition, and he's going to resend that on Monday. Chair recognizes Ann Gill.
Ann, let me unmute you.
Hello, Ann Gill from Douglas County. I think John Fielding made a number of excellent points. We have wasted a lot of time on irrelevancies and people repeating discussion on the items that have already passed. We need to clean up our procedures to have productive meetings. Mr. Fielding's point about why to attend this meeting in a couple of days or whenever it is well made. But meanwhile, I vote to adjourn this meeting ASAP.
Yeah. Anybody second that motion? I got a second from Kim Wright. Meeting's adjourned.
Good.
I gotta see all of this.
Thank you all. As I mentioned, I will leave the room open for a few minutes, but the meeting has been adjourned. Keep in mind, it is live streaming to Zoom, but I will allow you to unmute yourselves. So give me just a second to do that so you can keep chatting.
We are disabling chat as well, just for all participants.
I like these are state.
Okay. You can unmute yourself if you have something you'd like to say. But again, it is live streaming.
Yeah. You finish?
Tom Cooper, are you still here?
I am still here, yes.
Okay. I wanted to piggyback on what everyone else was answering to your point. While none of us question that she is not valid in what she's doing and that this was the valid meeting, none of us here do question that. But the reality is that we are faced with the same crisis we had 2 years ago when Dave was chair, where a meeting similar to this one was held against the will of the chairman. And the vote was to remove Dave, right?
Yes,
and then
I was there.
yes, we all know the legal meeting then took place when Dave was chairing it, and that was ruled invalid. What we don't want to have happen is that same situation here, where it's called into question, and we then have a legal battle on our hands between who had the valid meeting, and then it ends up in the courts again. So simply to avoid that issue, I urge everyone here to just attend that meeting, vote exactly as we did, have a little bit more patience, to John Fielding's point, because then we can resolve this once and for all. There can be no question that she was voted to be no confident and to restrict her spending and to end the lawfare, right? Those are all things we want. So I urge the body to do that.
The question is what's guaranteeing that she's going to have the same issues that we can vote on in her meeting? And
He has already
if John's right about that, how do we add then this petition to her meeting and have that voted on? And do we have time to get everybody to there in a couple days?
I'm not sure we can add the removal vote. I'm not sure that's possible. But what can happen is she has already stated that this would be basically a copy of this meeting. It's a special meeting, which means that the agenda is set, which means that those 3 questions we voted on today have to be voted on again in her meeting. That is what binds her to that. Whether she follows parliamentary procedure is a whole nother question, but she's bound to at least these 3 issues.
Guys, hold on. Britta's meeting had to be called for her saying that our meeting that we just had was illegal. She had to call a meeting saying that the petition that I turned in has to be heard because Russ said that the original signatures were changed, or the original petition was changed, nullifying the XCOM's ruling that it was illegal. So her meeting has to go off of the petition. What the petition has is what we just now voted on. Exactly the same. So it has to be all the same stuff, and we have to dot all of our I's and cross all of our T's. So we all need to go to that meeting also and prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that she is wrong. We are voting against her.
What if we don't go? We don't have quorum. You can't vote if you don't have quorum.
Cody, would you please stop the live stream? This is private. It's not public information. It should be a private discussion. The meeting is over.
Hey, Raymond, this is Richard Holtorf, still the vice chair of the COGOP for a few more days. And I want everybody to understand